Yo, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and comment down below if you got any questions or criticisms about the video. Hey guys, real quick, before the video starts, there was a little bit of an audio issue here at the start of the video, some crackling, but unfortunately I couldn't log back in to re-record from scratch. So there's going to be just a small portion where I'm talking. It's a voiceover, and it'll seem a little out of sorts, but it's only for like 20 seconds. Hey YouTube, did you know that pressing Control E on a replay will apparently rewind it? I have gotten about 35-ish seconds of spoiler territory on this game up on this broadcast, but I am coming at you live with another AlphaStar cast after to restart it there briefly. We have a very interesting replay ahead of us, though, because in the top left, it is going to be an actual pro player from the European circuit. You should recognize this French bastard. It's PtitDrogo. And his opponent to the bottom right. Not quite conquering mankind, but posing a threat nonetheless. It's the Red Zerg, AlphaStar. This is really cool, though. This is from one of the fresher batches of AlphaStar. Now, quick spoiler alert, guys. We're actually going to be showing a couple of AlphaStar videos together in this one, so you're going to get more than just this one game, but they're going to be from various different players. We decided to open, well, I decided to open with the pro one on this one, because Drogo is a really interesting case, because he is a pro player. And as we've seen, AlphaStar can beat a lot of the lesser known or perhaps unknown players. No disrespect to those guys. They've got us plenty of views on YouTube. Thank you all for being amazing. But for the most part, it's been beating Joes, not pros. So Drogo, being one of the pros, will be very interesting to see how AlphaStar plays around this one. But that being said, because this is from a more recent set of matches, I don't know if AlphaStar had reset after the previous 60 ladder games played and now approaches with new ideas, or if this is still the same AlphaStar but perhaps with better micro. One of the things we've noted a lot out of AlphaStar is it likes to go roaches and ravagers when it plays Zerg. And we've all been kind of having fun pointing and laughing at the corrosive biles being pretty abysmal. Maybe this is a version that's had that cleaned up. I honestly don't know. There's no public-facing AlphaStar Twitter. We don't have a lot of easy access information about it. We're just kind of going off of what you guys see on YouTube is what I pretty much have in front of me. So it'll be interesting to see how Drogo plays around that, because those brute force builds work really well in pro play. I do want to note, Drogo's playing a little bit abnormal. Not crazy abnormal, but probe. Unless he's trying to bait the lings. I think he is, actually, because this is where the audio got a little bit of a hiccup. It's a little bit abnormal watching the lings. I'm pretty sure he's trying to bait them with the probe, maybe buy some time for his adept to finish up, just getting chrono boosted out. Stargate comes down as part of the wall, and I mean, this is pretty standard. Everything on the low ground's there to protect what's up on the high ground. So every second you buy with this probe, kind of playing around in the middle of the map, you keep the lings off the wall, you keep them from getting by, and your depth's out. But for Drogo, right, reaction timing, macro, there's a lot to sell you on what a pro can do that an amateur cannot. And I really, wait, hold on. Hold my thought for a second. There's more lings on the way. There's no Roach Warren. Is AlphaStar gonna ling all in? If that's the case, I mean, I've cast quite a few AlphaStar replays at this point. This might be the first one I've seen. So as I had mentioned, there's a new fresh variant of AlphaStar that's started laddering. You've had reports from Serral, Euthermal, PtitDrogo here, several pros saying that they fought AlphaStar in the ladder. And before, we did the homework to confirm, just easy access real quick, guys. Control groups versus like no control groups is one of those easy identifiers, but this is odd. This is new. I like it. Things are changing. Now, the Ling-All-In, unfortunately, is not going to work. I don't know if this was based off a reaction seeing the first pylon on the low ground with that Overlord Scout, maybe triggered AlphaStar to do this, or maybe it was planning to do it from the get-go. But one thing's for certain, these Zerglings can't seem to make up their mind on what they want to do. There was a time, I think a few seconds ago, where if AlphaStar just sacrificed these Zerglings for the Cyber Core, probably could have denied Warp Tech, which is a really important upgrade, obviously. But at the same time, with the Oracle sitting here chilling, he's just waiting for these Lings, hoping that they'll commit so he can turn on that Pulsar Beam, and 2 Oracles is going to kill all these Zerglings even faster than the Adepts would. But in fact, the Oracles are not going to stay at home, and neither will AlphaStar stay on Drogo's doorstep. I'm wondering if this is an unrefined build out of AlphaStar, or if this is just the AI derping because this is an irregularity. The Zerglings seem more interested in having a dance party than necessarily doing anything effective to Drogo. As the Oracles go across the map, there's a pretty open queen. Easy pickings there. One up, one down. Ling's still posturing on the map, because what are they going to do? Run home and jump up? No, they can't hit those oracles. One oracle does go down at a Drogo. Not perfectly controlled in this case, but did a lot of damage with the queens being removed from play. In fact, his first unit lost this game. So he went about 4 minutes with 0 resources lost. Round 2 getting a little bit greedy for the drones. We see him tip and tap on this one. I wonder what's going on through Drogo's mind at this point. Like, the idea is this a low league player? Is he alpha? Does he know it's AlphaStar? I mean, to be clear, there's no indicator when you join these games. You know that to play AlphaStar in the ladder, you have to opt into it, and that's it. They don't tell you when you're going to play it. They don't tell you when it's going to be laddering. We didn't even know there was a new version of AlphaStar until very, very, very recently. So this is perhaps not going to go AlphaStar's way by the looks of things. There's so many adepts marching down the field, and while they don't have resonating glaives, there's just numbers. AlphaStar has 19 Zerglings, but I think in the mineral lines, these adepts win the fight every time. It's a massacre. Of course, the queen getting focused by the oracles. Yeah, that's going to go down. The adept's going to transfer on over. Oh, they cancel the transfer. They're happy to stay behind the mineral lines, and I don't blame them. This is a great spot to be to stop Zerglings. Now, obviously, the queen's going to kill one of these adepts. Woo! But, I mean, denying a whole base of mining, having killed the drones that he has. 9 dead so far. Drogo pretty content with this attack, I imagine. Although, funny enough, most of those drone kills came from the oracles earlier and not from the adepts through this battle. Those adepts mostly traded out for a crap ton of Zerglings and queens. But AlphaStar staying vigilant, still has 35 drones, hasn't given up yet, and of course with Drogo's attacks having ceased, this gives it a little bit of breathing room. The awkward thing about this though, and I didn't think, okay, Drogo did scout. He saw the hatchery at the third. The timing on this is so off and so weird. He's comfortable to take his own. I think you do a little bit of damage, you expand on equal terms with your opponent, and that's going to make you feel confident about being ahead of the game. But of course, Zerg versus Protoss isn't always that simple. You get the right amount of banelings in play, connect to those adepts, wipe them out. Same with Zealots, as we do see charge on the way. Then you can just go for the auto attacks after to win the game. I'm not saying AlphaStar is going to do any of that, though. There's not even a banling nest, but I'm just saying there are opportunities that you can do where this doesn't have to be so one-sided. But the fact that AlphaStar has stayed on Zerglings has made this tough. But I'm misspeaking all over the place. Now, look, we all know to deal with this, obviously Lings aren't the preferable choice. But I should also note, I've cast a fair share of games where we got Koreans like Rogue, Europeans like Xanster, players who have made really odd builds work. I mean, for goodness sake, Xanster got Grandmaster on the North American ladder by going gasless. Like, he literally played enough games with only Queens, Lings, and Spore Crawlers to get Grandmaster. So it's not impossible for these games to play out, but I don't think this is going to work for AlphaStar. The supply count's way too low. The army supply count is Lings, too. I mean, it's just the type of supply flooding into these Archons. It is a meat grinder of Zerg, and there's just puddles of blood. Not a single Archon has gone down. A couple Zealots, sure, but I mean, this hatchery's going to die. More Lings are on the way. They're going to be funneling from multiple locations. And I think it's pretty safe to say our pro player is going to hold the record. So we've got Raynor defeating AlphaStar. We got Drogo taking on AlphaStar. And things have looked pretty good from the pro side. AlphaStar is good, no doubt about this, but not good enough, not yet. GG's get called. Drogo takes the first map. But as I said, this is going to be a string of AlphaStar games, so pardon my awkward transitionary cut here while we get into the next game. Welcome back to game 2 out of 3 for our AlphaStar series mashup today. This one's going to be a PvP following that one with Drogo. To the top left, we have our red Protoss. It's and his bone to the bottom right. Of course, the blue barcode. You know her well at this point. That's right. It's a female, in our opinion. It's AlphaStar. Because let's be honest, if for no other reason, it just lets us use sexy robots to clickbait the thumbnails. But AlphaStar has probably had its most acclaim from its Protoss. Obviously, that's what it was first debuted as, PvP, back from the Deepmind demonstration. But also, its matches have been pretty good on the ladder. Very aggressive, pretty all-in, but some cool tactics, too, with things like one gateway fast nexus opposed to 2 gateways, as we see standard amongst many of the builds. But I have some alarming news I'd like to discuss. Did you guys hear about the kidnapping at the school? Yeah, he woke up later. It was fine.
Bazinga.
Now, I tried to straight face that one. I couldn't help but giggle a bit, but AlphaStar, I guess technically if this were a best of 3, 0-1 at the moment. Human having claimed victory in that first game fight at Drogo, but as we mentioned before, we're seeing a lot better result out of AlphaStar versus the, I guess, the Masters and like the low Grandmasters opposed to the high tier WCS championship qualified players like Drogo. So Slashers, a little lesser known, might have a, maybe AlphaStar's got a better chance of beating. I don't know. PvP is such a weird matchup to begin with before you even factor in AI or otherwise, but it has once again consistently gone for this build that I think is so strange because it is not the normal, but it has made me really truly question what is normal in a PvP, because it has just been set for so long that you open with 2 gates. It has been set that you typically do Stalkers, or if you want to get aggressive, you do Adepts, but either way, you don't do 1 gateway. Production being hampered has been proven to be an issue in a lot of these matchups, proxies or otherwise. So by taking this Nexus, that's going to be more probes, and thus more probes to lose, sure, but that's also, 400 minerals not going towards production of army for the Nexus itself. Any money spent on probes coming out of this is less money for an army itself being produced out of what little buildings there are. But we saw this exact same build before against Bogdan, and once again we see this now with the Stargate follow-up. Now, as I mentioned before, though, this is proxies out of Slashers, and this has not been scouted out of AlphaStar. And AlphaStar does not have God vision or anything crazy like that, so unless it sees this, it can't react to this. So it's a Robo and a Gateway, and it's going to get really aggressive with Immortals really quick. That battle over here goes pretty well for Slashers to begin with, but again, it's so strange to me that he's able to make this work, or her in this case, because AlphaStar has only gotten the 1 gateway to produce off of, but produces enough units to be here in the nick of time to stop this from being too dangerous. However, this part's still going to be dangerous. It's interesting, though, because it's a Phoenix follow-up. Again, standard, this much isn't so crazy, but it's interesting the way this will interact with the battle, because it appears to be Adepts with Immortals and not Stalkers with Immortals. This means there won't be anything to shoot up, but more notably, that means the Phoenix should be able to kind of indefinitely crowd control that Immortal. Just constantly Graviton beam it over and over again. A little bit chaotic here. Not sure if it'll waste its energy lifting up one of these to control it, just so it can win the battle on below, but with a Phoenix being revealed, this is going to be a little alarm to our Red Protoss, because, of course, they don't have anything that shoots up yet. So whether they intended to warp in Stalkers or not is unknown, but there are Stalkers in play now, needing some way to deal with these Phoenix after all. Shield battery comes down, and if the shield battery is done, this could be a different battle, but it's not going to be the case. Probes could get pulled on top of the Immortal. This could work out well for AlphaStar, but right now, just so you guys are aware, ignoring the Phoenix component to this, Stalkers just straight up beat Adepts. Now, he does... his Immortal gets lifted, so that's going to take a little bit of the fight out here for Slashers. But it's not going to die. Barrier gets popped. Interesting. Barrier doesn't get popped in the sky, but I guess that makes sense because it's crowd controlled. A lot of probes have been pulled for the fight, but again, a lot of probes can be pulled for this fight. That's the advantage of that faster Nexus. All AlphaStar really has to do is hold on. It doesn't have to win this battle super hardcore. It just has to win it enough that it survives in the game, because they're up an entire base over Slashers at this point. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. The Phoenix are good, but there's not enough energy to lift up all these units to fight. And even then, at this point, now there's, what, 6 Stalkers, they can start focus firing down the Phoenix, whichever one barely has enough energy to lift things up in the first place. So natural base has been compromised, but rather than waste time on the Nexus, pushes through to the main, going to knock down that Cyber Core, and that's going to severely limit the type of units that can come out for AlphaStar. No Adepts, no Stalkers, only Zealots being able to warp in at this point. Probes get pulled through this too, gonna soak some damage. Warp Prism gets shooed away by those Phoenix, nicely done. But AlphaStar no longer has the worker count that is a huge lead in this game, but instead, now kind of just dwindling. With more Phoenix lifting more units, it's less damage outgoing, so the units that are being lifted are not dying as much. The Immortal survives, the second Stalker survives. I mean, the shield battery is doing work, don't get me wrong, but these Phoenix are out of juice, so there's nothing they can do right now. Probes try to arrest the Immortal. It's on 11 kills. Finally goes down. But the Immortal's not just the problem. There's still so many Stalkers that need to be cleaned up. AlphaStar now knocked down to 6 probes. This doesn't look winnable at all, because even if, hypothetically, this gets cleaned up and goes right across the field for a counterattack, there's not enough energy on these Phoenix to lift up 23 probes. Nor would there be. I think this is a day for humans. A day for all humans. Because AlphaStar had a bit of momentum roll and they're killing a lot of the players we've been casting over these last few replays that I've been able to get my hands on, but this doesn't look like it's going to be one of them. Pulling back to wait for the energy in the Phoenix was a smart move. Give it credit where it's due. But there's too many Stalkers. It's 8-1. 5 Phoenix. Not enough energy. Even if they lift up every Stalker that they could, that's still 3 Stalkers free firing on the ground. I'm not sure if all the probes have to die for AlphaStar to tap out. While it's not a great game out of AlphaStar, it does give us an idea into what it decides is a losing condition to tap out of the game. I mean, there's no winning. We're not even questioning the win at this point. There's the GG. Taps on out, and that's going to be game 2. But as I promised you guys, we're doing a triple header. So one more AlphaStar cast coming at you should be right now. Well, I guess we accidentally made a PvZ ice cream sandwich. Protoss versus Zerg on one side, Protoss versus Zerg on the other. But this one finishes off with the Protoss, in this case, not being a pro-French player, but instead the red AlphaStar. And their opponent with a fairly upbeat name, going to be the blue Zerg, Sundava. Sundava. Now, quick little PSA while this game opens up. As mentioned before, we're starting to run out of the availability of AlphaStar casts. There's such a limited amount even made public in the first place, much less verifiable. As again, I would love to just jump on every replay I see posted as AlphaStar, but some of them we've learned at this point are just barcodes who play poorly, which sounds a little insulting, but that is the confusion, and that's the case for some of the people who report them in. So I do have a couple of verified pro replays in the pipeline, but as I had mentioned in previous videos, and even in this one, you know, those guys want to save the builds that they showed against AlphaStar for things like WCS and other tournaments that they're competing in. So at later dates, we maybe get access to the replays, but this might be the last one for a little bit. So I really appreciate all you guys who've been joining me on these AlphaStar casts, the Skynet series as we've dubbed it. And definitely check out the other videos if you haven't. Once more, if I'm doing the YouTube thing right, somewhere up here, I'll probably link one of the other ones, as we've just had tons and tons of these pumped out. But for those who are unfamiliar with my regular stylings, I do like to hang out on Twitch. I stream almost every single day. Hell, we might even be live now as you're watching this video. Come check us out, twitch.tv/BaseTradeTV. But the key thing is I put out a lot of content that's not AlphaStar. And we've put out some really good videos on YouTube too. I hope you guys will check them all out, from Amateur Hour to pro play in Korea. We've showcased a lot of stuff on the channel, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys would at least take a peep. But don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. Now, as we mentioned before, though, the human player in this case is the Zerg, and I don't know if we're going to see the same awkward Ling all in. It would actually be super poetic if that was the case. Zealot being pumped out of AlphaStar at the moment to plug what will soon be a wall, I imagine. AlphaStar's Terran walling has been pretty subpar to say the least, but its Protoss walling has not let us down yet. Fairly low APM out of the Zerg, though, to be honest. I'm just like gonna double check the control groups. Like, I didn't mix this up, right? Like, yes, this is the human. Okay. No control groups out of AlphaStar. Check. Seems to be pretty standard. I do want to actually do something. We're gonna take a peek at the AlphaStar's vision. Just kind of see what it's up to through this while we walk through the production tab. Because reacting to things like Zerglings, we did have someone in a previous video ask, like, are these camera spectations in, like, real time? And the answer is actually yes. There's no weird delay. As far as I'm aware, at least, from what Starcraft provides, what we see now is in real time what you would see out of the player if AlphaStar was streaming, for example. But I don't think AlphaStar would be able to stream. Either way, we do have a robo coming out of AlphaStar. And you can see it's been pretty diligent about scouting. Whoa, I just totally couldn't speak there for a moment. Does anyone else smell burnt toast? Anyways, it's been pretty diligent about scouting. Now gets aggressive here with these 2 Adepts and the Zealot. There's not that many Lings out to defend, but there are some on the way. 12 coming out should hold this with the Queen, especially as AlphaStar just takes a lot of the damage walking into the mineral line. Grabs the drone right away, and of course hops on top of the Adept. This is nice to do. Speed done, of course, if it's not obvious enough, so chasing these down will not be a problem. The Zealot gets caught, the Adepts are getting killed, and this push out of AlphaStar a little bit weak. I gotta be honest, I picked the 3 replays that I just hadn't cast out of the remaining cluster that I had, and if so happens it be that 3 humans won, then that was not intentional, but this is a pretty bad opening for AlphaStar. Just kind of throwing away the Zealots and the Adept like that, but we should note, aside from the low APM over Zerg player that I was kind of scoffing at before, picking up the pace now a little bit, but also going for a Nidus Worm. Now this is where things get a little bit troublesome for both sides of the equation, because this Nidus Worm pretty much says this game's not going to go to be a 20-minute game. This game is going to end one way or the other, probably based around the Nidus Worm. So as this hits, there's not a lot of vision right now outside the main, but AlphaStar also doesn't have any vision over here to see the Nidus Worm come into the main base. So this should be a Nidus Swarm that 100% goes up. Lings go in, Queens pair with it, and I mean, as far as the army count goes, Sundeva actually has a lot of army to work with here. 26 Zerglings versus the 4 Adepts. In fact, those 4 Adepts aren't even going to be on the other side of the field defending the Nidus Swarm. They're going to be in the main base, something that Sundeva can always just pull back to. In fact, I would suggest, like, if I was the human in this case, right, just send in, like, 4 or 7 Lings, bring the rest back, realizing the Adepts are here and try and defend. Or you can just try and pull out a base trade. Some Zealots are being warped in, but this is a massacre in the main base, and it's not even being close to a fair fight. In fact, warping all of the Adepts back home because there's no defense. But running into this mineral line, more Adepts being warped in. This numbers game is becoming less favorable for Sundeva and a lot better for AlphaStar. Perhaps the production just kind of started hiccuping, I don't know, but running back to the Nidus Swarm, this didn't go well for Sundeva at all. In fact, 13 army supply and 9 drones, losing all those workers on the other side of the field to AlphaStar, that's going to be GG. So thank you guys for joining me for my AlphaStar cast today. This triple header hopefully was enjoyable. I'm actually going to leave a bunch of blank time here at the end of the video to try and mess with you guys who were checking out the time of the video. So you're not going to get your typical end screen here. I'll just play some music, but thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for more Starcraft in the future.
SCV ready. Move it. We'll butter my biscuit.
Your precious little minerals are low.
SCV ready. Yeah, what? Bad news. SCV ready. Back supplies.
Buy some?
You're short on minerals.
Really short.
Harvest more minerals, soldier.
SCV ready. SCV ready. In the rear. SCV ready. SCV ready.
You need more gas.
What's going on? You're the boss, huh? Big job, huh?
You want a piece of me, boy? Oh, you...
Go ahead.
Command center's all spruced up.
Ah, lovely.
Ah! This bad news. Big job, huh? SCV ready.
By the numbers, boys. 10-4.
SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Clever scoundrel.
SCV ready.
Add-ons ready.
Your precious little minerals are low.
SCV ready. Ready to raise some hell.
You're short on minerals.
Really short.
SCV ready. We'll butter my biscuit. What's going on? Ready to raise some hell.
You need more supply.
Huh?
Nukes armed and ready. Harvest more minerals, soldier.
Supply line is low.
So...
Get gas already.
Mira, be nice. Not enough Vespine gas. You need more gas.
Liberation is at hand.
Give me the sit rep. Okay. Will do. Deploying. Roger.
Need something liberated?
Bad news?
You need more supply.
Ghost reporting. Out with it.
Ready for dust off.
Easy.
This better be good.
We have you on screen. Incoming orders. We read you.
Go ahead. Talk to me, boss. What's your range? Go ahead.
Got freedom?
Okay. Nothing to it.
Our SCVs are under fire.
You actually care about those?
Armed and
Ghost reporting. Roger. You sure about that?
big job.
Solo operative.
We have you on screen.
Out with it.
Incoming orders. Your silly SCVs need help.
By the numbers, boys.
Come again.
Your precious little minerals are low.
In the rear with the gear.
Light flights here.
They're attacking your base.
Ooh, so serious.
In the rear with the gear. Light it up. I'm going in.
Talk to me.
Go. Confirmed.
We're returning fire.
Roger. Give me the sip. You sure about? Come again. Solo operative, right? Out with it.
Attention.
You sure about that?
Ready for pickup?
Okay, out with it. Come again. Solo operative.
Research is done. Now go make it worthwhile.
You gonna give me orders? Big job, huh?
This better be good.
Talk to me. Ready for picking up or dropping off?